Welcome everybody to the regular meeting of the Pickleweed Advisory Committee, meeting of July 7th, and the time is 7:03. I invite Becky to please take roll call.
All right, thank you, Steve. Salvador Avalos, I believe he is absent. Nancy Palacios.
Present.
Kate Sprague.
Present.
Janet Tanchez.
Present.
Rosa Vasquez.
Present.
Luis Youst.
Here.
All right, and Yaro Sabalos.
He had a family emergency, so
Okay, thank you, Steve. He's absent as well. All right, thank you, Steve.
And now I'd like to invite Becky to explain how the public can participate in this evening's agenda.
Good evening, everyone. Viewers are welcome to provide public comment online through Zoom or by telephone at 669-900-9128, and the meeting ID is 950-5173-5161. If you are watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participant button and select raise hand if you wish to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to speak, please press *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified by the host inviting you to participate. You need to press *6 to unmute yourself. Once you are unmuted, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments.
Thank you, Becky. I got to say, I'm very excited to have this group together. It's we kind of started and stalled, and we've restarted, but I'm looking forward to doing a lot of things together, and it'll be a lot of fun. I thought that this first regular meeting, it'd be nice if we went around and just introduced ourselves, maybe say our connection to the canal, and if you've been on the advisory committee in the past, just so we can all know where we're coming from. So why don't we start with Nancy?
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm Nancy Palacios. I became a San Rafael resident 3.5 years ago. And I'm very excited to be part of the advisory committee. I believe the canal is such a special neighborhood in San Rafael, and I hope that my input and some of my knowledge can help the program. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Kate.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kate Sprague, and my husband and I have lived in San Rafael for, I think, about 10 years now. And we live in the Canal neighborhood, and we have 2 boys. And we love taking advantage of the different programs and opportunities that the Borough Community Center offer there, and the library, and the great new playground. And so I'm excited to be part of the process of using that and making sure it's being used to the best of its ability for the community. And I'll just add that I am in rural Washington right now visiting my parents. So my internet might be a little unstable tonight, but I'm here.
So far, so good. Janet.
Hi, my name's Janet. I've been a resident of the canal area for 30 years. So pretty much lived here my whole life. Have been a part of a lot of programs that have gone on here. Always loved the Borough Community Center, and so I thought I would join the team and help out wherever I can. It's nice to meet everybody.
And Rosa.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Rosa Vasquez, and I'm sorry I'm out here because I don't have well connection to my apartment, so I had to come out on the veranda. Well, I'm happy to be with you guys, and I hope I would be of help and wherever I can, and I'm excited to continue with you guys. Thank you.
We're excited to have you. And Louise.
Hi, I'm Louise Yost. I've lived in the canal 21 years and really enjoy it here, especially Shoreline Park, which is just a gift to this neighborhood. It is well used and well appreciated. I've been on the Pickleweed committee for since early 2000s. So I've seen a lot of changes over time. And it feels good to have a little more historical connection or perspective of the canal. I'm honored to be back. Thank you.
And I'm Steve Mason. I'm the supervisor here at the Aberjeboro Community Center. In 2 weeks, it'll be 12 years that I've been here. I've worked in many different municipalities, but I was very much attracted to this position in particular. And I love the Canal community. It's filled with partnerships with organizations and the community itself. And it's a pleasure to work here. So thank you. And we have a special treat tonight. We've got Mayor Kate here, who would like to share a few things with us. So welcome.
Thank you. Did you want Director Andrade Wax or Assistant Director to introduce themselves? Did I miss that part?
We could do that.
Well, I was just thinking because some of the newer people, I don't know if Rosa has met them. Yeah. Wait, Susan, you're muted.
I think actually quite a few of us have met each other, but I'd love to introduce myself again. I'm Susan Andrade Wax, and it's my pleasure to be the Library and Recreation Director for the City of San Rafael.
And Catherine?
And I'm Catherine Cufo. I'm the Assistant Library and Recreation Director for the City of San Rafael. I've been with the city for 2.5 years, I think, working at the city, but I have lived here my whole life, was born and raised in San Rafael, so have deep connections to the city and have been very excited to be able to kind of contribute in such a different and meaningful way, working as an employee for the Recreation Department, which I think brings so much to our communities all throughout San Rafael. So I'm very, very excited to be here and very excited to be to have this kind of newly expanded and all these new members on the Pickleweed Advisory Committee.
And then the other attendees will have a chance to introduce themselves as their agenda item comes up.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's always nice to hear everybody's background, and thank you for letting me come to your meeting tonight. Actually, some of you I've known for quite a long time. Fun fact, Janet and I have played soccer together. Well, not recently, but I don't know if you have to tell me, 10 years ago, we played for a couple of years on the same team. So I love those community connections. And it's really nice to hear everyone's background story. So I'm making an effort to zoom in. It's so much easier with Zoom, I guess, to the different committees and boards and just say hi, and to thank you personally, eye to eye, as much as we're eye to eye on the screen, for stepping up for our community. The thing that I love about San Rafael is how engaged people are, how much they care. Doesn't mean that we always end up agreeing with each other, and that's okay, because we're bringing our hearts and we're bringing our heads to the work that we do. So just really wanted to emphasize how important your participation is, especially the Pickleweed Advisory Board, and to connecting to the community. As the pandemic has changed so many things, I mean, hey, look at us, we're on Zoom. We're really taking this moment, and actually I say there are lots of new things. We're trying to look at the silver linings tonight. So those that you may not know, I was elected to be the mayor in November, and I was sworn in this past December, but I was on the council for about 8 years prior. And so in addition to myself as a new mayor, which is the first time we've had a woman mayor, so that's kind of cool. And we also have 3 new council members. And so we have a lot of new, and instead of being overwhelmed by new or difference or change, we're actually embracing it. And we're using this moment to reimagine and evolve everything in terms of our community outreach, in terms of our boards and commissions. Some of you might have filled out the survey that we sent around, I think it was in March or April. And if you did fill it out, thank you. And what we want is that your participation, we want it to be both ways. We want it to be a meaningful experience for you, and we want you to feel like you're getting something out of it. And the staff and the city wants to make sure that the board is providing the type of direction that's needed. So it's both ways. It's both the input and the output. And that's what we're trying to get at with the survey. So with that information, what we are in the process of doing is hiring an expert. The name of them is Common Knowledge. And I just realized I wrote down their mission statement and I stuck it on a sticky, and I don't know where the sticky went. So, but Common Knowledge, they specialize in community, civic, and employee connections, really about community building and outreach. And that's why we are bringing them on to help us look at what would have new or reimagined, and I don't mean like wholesale change, but how do we evolve the way that we reach out to our residents specifically, and these are the 3 kind of lenses or factors we're asking them to look at. One is we're now in districts. So when I talk about the new council, we actually have district representatives. So in where you are, District 1, it's Councilwoman Micah Urenz Gulati is the district representative. So the fact that we're in districts, how does that manifest in terms of the way that we engage with both the residents and our boards and commissions? Secondly, how do we use these powerful tools, these technology tools that we have? We've always had them, but now we've all been trained about how to use them. How can we use that to enhance the way that we connect with people as well as get information back? And then finally, how do we become more inclusive? We want to be looking at any sort of change to make sure it's as broad as possible and not just narrowing, and having the folks who know how to access the system always be the ones that are accessing. And we really have an opportunity and an awareness there that government heart might have been in the right place, but it hasn't been as open and as inclusive as it wants to be. And that's something that the city of San Rafael is looking at for one of our key policies going forward, is how do we work on social equity and racial justice. So with those three lenses, Common Knowledge is going to be reaching out to stakeholders. They'll be talking to staff, trying to getting a sense of the community players, and then really giving us a framework or a map or a guide about how we can enhance our engagement. So it'll be a very open process. When we get updates, we'll be sure to share it. It probably won't be me actually sharing it. We'll either send it to Steve or Director Andrade Wax and have them bring you up, keep you in the loop. But that was really the reason why I wanted to zoom in, because for some of you that are new, it's like, hey, what's this all about? And for one who's been on there for a long time, like Louise has, hey, are we going to take this opportunity to be even better? Because we can always show up better, right? I mean, of course we can. So I'm happy to take any questions, but I know you have a full agenda, but I really just wanted to connect, as much as we can over the screen, but it's what we have right now.
Anybody have any questions for Mary Kate? Louise?
Well, if you think of any, I say my virtual door, my real door, my real door, I'm actually sitting in my son. He's since graduated from college. I'm sitting in his bedroom. So his bedroom door is open if any of you will ever talk to me. But seriously, I do this work because I believe in the power of community. And you are all force amplifiers of that community building, right? So the council, that we have a fantastic council. The colleagues I serve with are incredible. But the five of us can never do the community building without all of you and what you're doing. And then that is why we do this work. And that is, to me, what is really exciting about this work. So know that you are part of a really great system and organization that we're going to continue to improve. So unless there's anything else, Steve, do you have anything else?
No, thanks for zooming in, Mary Kate. We appreciate it.
Okay, and as I've been telling everyone, when you have your first one in person, invite me, and I swear I will bring cake or cupcakes. We're going to be eating a lot of cake when we're together.
That's the deal.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, bye.
Great. And then, are there any amendments to this evening's agenda? Anybody has?
No.
No? Okay. So then I am going to call the minutes and approval of regular meeting of December 9th, 2021. Does any of the board members, committee members have any questions or comments or corrections about the agenda or the minutes, rather?
No.
No.
Okay. If we can open it to public comment. Becky?
Thank you, Steve. We do have a couple of people in the audience. So if you are watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participants button and raise hand if you wish to speak. And if you are participating by telephone, which I don't believe we have anyone, please press *9 when it is your turn to speak, and you'll be notified by the host inviting you to participate. You will need to press *6 to unmute yourself. And once you've muted yourself, you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments. And it looks like we do not have anyone from the audience with their hand raised. However, we do have Willie Coronado. So I will ask to unmute. Okay, Willie.
Yes. Good evening. I was invited to the meeting. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Willie.
Oh, good evening. And I was invited to the meeting. I don't know if I should just wait until you guys let me know. I was just testing. I'm doing it from my phone, so I hope you understand. So I'll be standing by.
Good. We've got you loud and clear, and you're coming up in a little bit on the agenda.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Willie.
You bet.
All right, Stephen, we don't have anyone else with their hands raised, so go ahead and continue.
Okay, then I'd like to have a motion to adopt the minutes of the December 9th, 2020 Pickweed Advisory Committee meeting.
I move that we accept the minutes of July 7, 2021.
Okay, can we have a second?
I second it. Is that how you do it?
That's perfect. You did great. You passed, Nancy. Okay, and then
Thank you,
Becky, will you
Nancy.
take a roll call?
Yeah, I'll take a roll call. Thank you. Okay, Nancy Policios,
Present.
Kate Sprague,
Yes.
Janet Tanchez,
Present.
Rosa Vasquez,
I present. What do you say, present or I do?
You say yes.
Okay, yeah. Sorry.
Great. Thank you, and Louise Yost.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Great.
Minutes approved.
Minutes approved. And now we'd like to approve the regular meeting, the special meeting of June 22nd, 2021. Does anybody have any questions, corrections, comments on those minutes?
I just have one note. My last name is, the last two letters are inverted. So I'm not sure whether that correction is important to be made or not, but a correction.
It's absolutely important. Thank you. Any other corrections?
No.
Any members of the public that would like to make a comment? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to accept the minutes of the special meeting of June 22nd, 2021 with a correction of the inverted letters?
I move to approve the special meeting minutes of June 22nd, 2021.
Great. Can we have a second?
I second.
And Becky, if you could.
All right, Nancy Policios.
Yes. Present?
Just yes is okay.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Kate Sprague,
Yes.
Janet Tanchez,
Yes.
Rosa Vasquez,
Yes.
and Luis Yost.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And again, minutes approved.
Thank you, Becky. Moving on to item number 3, the meeting's open to the public. Do any of the members of the public that are joining us this evening like to make a comment?
All right, Steve, we do not have any raised hands.
All right, we'll close the public comment. And now we'll go to matters before the committee. I would like to start with item number 4 with the co-sponsorship applications and final reports. First up this evening, we have Drawbridge. I'm going to give a little background here as I catch up on my notes. Since 2013, Drawbridge has been offering their weekly expressive art program for homeless, low-income, and underserved children at the Aberjeboro Community Center. The program at the center offers a safe, supportive environment where youth ages 4 to 18 can use artwork to work through the complex emotions associated with poverty and family challenges. The term of the proposed art program is from September 13th, 2021 through August 29th, 2022. The applicant is requesting a full fee waiver valued at $1,380 for use of the art room on Mondays from 3:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., excluding holidays. Per the co-sponsorship guidelines for renewal applications, a final report for the program's previous co-sponsored use is included with the application for your review. Today we've got Tracy here. She's the executive director of Drawbridge, and she's going to provide everybody with a little background and in support of the application, and then she'll be available to answer questions. So Tracy, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Steve, it's so nice to finally meet you, and I'm excited to meet all of the rest of you. My name is Tracy Bays Booth. I'm the new executive director from Drawbridge. I joined in May, so I'm very new, but I am absolutely loving this opportunity, and I'm so inspired by this organization and its programs. For over 30 years, Drawbridge has provided free weekly expressive arts programs and quality art supplies for children who are underserved, low income, or experiencing homelessness. As Steve mentioned, we offer children ages 4 to 8 Drawbridge programs that are always free for the families we serve, and we provide children and youth a safe and nurturing space to build community and explore creativity that's critical to healthy development. Thanks to the ongoing support of the Pickleweed Advisory Committee and the City of San Rafael, Drawbridge has offered programs at the center since 2013 and to the Canal community for over 25 years, offering free weekly programs led by trained facilitators, such as longtime artist and San Rafael native Kathleen Keating. The program at the Aberjeboro Community Center historically has served about 40 unduplicated children per year over the course of approximately a year's worth of free weekly courses or classes. In the coming year, as our communities begin to reopen, we have seen an increased demand for in-person programs and are anticipating these numbers will grow. As part of our program relaunch, we are also expanding promotion and marketing across all of our service areas, including the Canal and San Rafael, to reach as many families as possible. Our goals for the coming year at the Aberjeboro Community Center are to serve a minimum of 50 unduplicated youth from a variety of backgrounds who will attend the group collectively 450 times or more. Expected outcomes of our programs are that they provide children a sense of group cohesiveness, compassion, creativity, and self-worth, as well as serve as an outlet for creative emotional expression, which may not be regularly available in other settings. Our evaluation methods include bilingual voluntary program evaluations offered to children and their caregivers, as well as qualitative and anecdotal feedback, including self-reporting and observations from children, facilitators, caregivers, and site staff. We also hope to expand our evaluation and feedback opportunities in the coming year, inviting caregivers and community representatives to help Drawbridge in changing our program evaluation model and engaging the community more authentically. And we're hoping that we will be able to establish advisory committees throughout the regions we serve and in the communities we serve that will help guide Drawbridge's strategic planning. Regarding our program report for the previous year at the community center, like most organizations, March 2020 brought in-person programs to a halt due to the COVID-19 pandemic, not only at the community center, but at almost 30 partner sites across 7 counties that we serve each year. When faced with such challenges, Drawbridge swiftly pivoted to virtual programs at partner sites when possible and provided over 750 individual art kits and ongoing supplies to our community partners. Now, at Drawbridge, we are delighted to safely resume programs with our goal to resume programming at the community center in early September. We have already begun to assemble new art materials, PPE supplies, and are launching a new COVID-19 safety training for all our volunteers and facilitators in the coming weeks to ensure a safe and supportive setting for the children we serve. We are so grateful for the board and the city's support in these efforts and can't wait to welcome Drawbridge children back to these programs. I'm happy to answer any questions you have this time about our proposal and report, and thank you again so much for your consideration.
Thank you, Tracy. Now, do any of the committee members have questions for Tracy or comments? Louise?
Oh,
You're good.
am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay. Your budget is $8,850 expenses. I didn't see any income listing. Did I miss that?
That's just expenses. We don't get any money back from our programs at the Borough Center. Some organizations offer a fee if they're able, but most of our programs are completely free. So all of our income is done through fundraising, through individual support, grants, or foundation support.
Okay. You're a nonprofit, right? So of course. What could you tell us where you're top three funding comes from?
I'm
The
sorry,
top
could you
three funding incomes?
my top three funding incomes, we have the Marin Community Foundation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the top three. We have a significant group of personal foundations that are around the $10,000 range. The Mayo Foundation, and then Twitter has been a supporter in the past.
Really?
And then I think last year, one of our biggest supporters was the state of California for the COVID relief grant.
Oh, really? That's fabulous. Okay, well, that just gives me a fuller picture of where, and your offices are in the canal?
We don't actually have offices. We are fully remote, and we were remote before the pandemic. Even what it does is it allows us to put all of our resources towards the program, and we don't have any overhead costs other than commuting in.
That's so smart. Good. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions from the committee?
Tracy, just looking at the program budget. So what you're trying to tell me is you would have net income with the expenses, because it seems like your funding would cover all these expenses, right? And you will
Absolutely.
have us at the end? Okay.
Correct. Our overarching program budget or overarching operational budget is this year will be $269. I mean, $269,000. We're very lean.
That's stretching it.
We're shoestring, less than a shoestring.
Okay.
And we've been able to, even in the face of the pandemic, to always have a surplus budget, which we're very grateful for, but I think it's because of the policies that have been put in place. We do pay our facilitators. There's a group of about 60 volunteers and 12 to 15 paid trained facilitators who are largely art educators or art therapists or artists themselves who lead our programs. And we do pay them a small stipend. So most of our cost is going directly to that program support, supplies, and just the bare basic administrative costs and to produce the programs for the children.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the committee?
I noticed in the application that you mentioned there were some virtual services you were able to provide at other sites, but not at Boro. I was just wondering whether you felt like, I wondered, one, whether any of the art kits had been supplied to the Boro to be passed out to community members there. And if not, why, or are there options for the future to integrate if we do need that option for virtual programs again?
Unfortunately, I'm not aware that we did do a virtual program with you, Steve. Is that correct?
I do believe there was one instance where Kathleen distributed art supplies to the community in front of the center before it was approved to go inside.
We have different sites, types of sites. So some are emergency shelter models. The community center, it's an evolving cast of children that can come. Some have been longtime participants, and then some just come and drop in. It's an open door model at the community center. So for the sites that had residents, we were able to establish and track down the children to distribute kits. But if in the event that any future closures come along, knock on wood that doesn't happen, we're absolutely committed to providing art supplies for our communities most in need, and would definitely work with in any capacity to make sure that happens at the Boro Center if requested.
I have one follow-up question. Do you anticipate or have plans for, especially since your audience is kids, for your safety measures and protocols as we wait for vaccines for kids?
Yes, we're building out our COVID protocols now. We have 30 partner sites across 7 counties, and every county, obviously, it may not follow the same COVID protocol. So what we've done is we've waited until the school year, and we're modeling it off of the in-classroom models for schools in each region. So make sure that we have at least that minimum. And then we have done a poll, which Steve has already completed, of what are the site requirements per site. And we add that layer, and then there are additional CDC guidelines for, in particular, emergency housing or things like that, that we have to be compliant with. So that's been a big focus of our summer, is making sure that we're ready and able to participate. We are going to, if not require, strongly recommend all of our facilitators be vaccinated, and that we're not bringing in any additional challenges to an already vulnerable medical community, which may not have access to healthcare. So we're being very mindful that we're incredibly cautious as we re-enter the programs, but we do realize children under 12 don't have that opportunity.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Louise?
Oh, you're still on mute.
You're still muted.
Okay. So obviously you have Spanish speakers and probably English speakers too. Are there any Vietnamese Americans in your group historically?
I'm unsure. I know predominantly our evaluations have been in Spanish and English, and we translate all of our materials. We are expanding that to any community that is needed, and we will have be able to provide that if that's necessary.
That's great.
Any other questions?
Actually, I'm wondering if there can be any special outreach to the Vietnamese American community in the canal.
Absolutely, we are completely open. I have a few facilitators. One of our facilitators in particular, I don't know if she currently lives in the canal, but she's been very active with the group. She's a refugee from Vietnam, and has been helping us with our diversity, equity, and inclusion language. So as we begin to do our reopening as well. So, and I also would like to invite any of you who are interested as we begin our community evaluations. If you would like to participate or be part of an advisory group for us as we work with our different communities, please let me know. We're happy to work with you. That's part of my new initiative, joining the organization, is that we have this historic moment to review what we're doing, much like what the mayor was saying, and how can we continue to be better and serve as many of our communities as possible.
Lovely.
Any more committee questions? Not, we can open it up for public comment or questions. Becky?
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
If you are watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participants button and select raise hand if you wish to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to speak, please press *9 at this time. And when it is your turn, the host will invite you to participate. And I am not seeing any raised hands, Steve. I don't know if you want to wait a little bit longer, but I don't see anything at this time.
Okay, so we'll close public comment. And I'd just like to say that remind everybody what I said earlier, that the residential nonprofit value of this rental is $1,380. A fee reduction or waiver would potentially result in lost revenue to the city should a paying program be interested in using the art room at that time. And the Pickleweed Advisory Committee has the authority to grant a partial fee waiver or a full fee waiver, or ask the applicant to resubmit if that is their discretion. So if there's no other comments, I'd like to call for a motion. Okay, Louise, can you unmute?
Okay, I'm muted, aren't I?
Yes.
Yes, you can hear me?
Correct.
So I'd like to make the motion that we do a full fee waiver, as I believe we historically have with them. That's my motion on the floor.
Okay, is there a second on that motion?
I second the motion. I see the great benefit that the program has to the Canal neighborhood and especially to the children.
Okay, Becky, if you can take roll, please.
Thank you, Steve. Nancy Palacios. Kate Sprague,
Yes.
Janet Sanchez,
Yes.
Rosa Vasquez,
Yes.
and Louise Youst.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. And Tracy, it was very nice to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you so much for your continued support. It really does make the difference in these efforts. And again, if you would like to reach out and join us in any of our efforts to engage the community, particularly in the canal, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Again, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Thank you. And we'll go down to item, the next one underneath 4 is Parent Service Project. Parent Service Project has utilized the Aberjeboro Community Center for their Learning Together program since 2007. The program has been co-sponsored by the Pickleweed Advisory Committee and has grown tremendously in attendance over the year, thus reflecting community interest and need. The development of the playgroup for children 0 to 5 years old and their parents teaches parenting skills and helps parents strengthen the relationship with their child. In addition to encouraging the healthy development of infants and young children, the program helps build support network in the community that provides connections to community resources, organizations, and programs. The term of the proposed preschool age program is from September 8th, 2021 through June 4th, 2022. Although listed on the co-sponsorship application, the applicant is aware that, as in the past, the multi-purpose room is not available for co-sponsorship on Fridays and is prepared to pay for the room on that day. Parent Service Project is therefore requesting a full fee waiver valued at $10,050 for use of Meeting Room 3 on Wednesdays from 9:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. and the multi-purpose room from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. excluding holidays. Per the co-sponsorship guidelines, the renewal application, a final report of the program's previous co-sponsored use is included with the application for Pickleweed Advisory Committee's review. I also want to add that since the fiscal impact that I mentioned would be $10,050 for the 2 meeting rooms on Wednesdays and Thursdays, a fee reduction would result in lost revenue to the city should paying program be interested in using either the meeting room or the multi-purpose room at that time. However, being that Parent Service Project conducts the program all 3 days at the Aberjeboro Community Center, the city realizes an estimated $8,662.50 in revenue for the rental of the multi-purpose room program on Fridays. Now, representing Parent Service Project, we've got Cecilia here. So, Cecilia, welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is, let me see if I can get it to work. Alrighty. Hi, my name is Cecilia Hudson. Thank you for having me today. And as Steve mentioned, we're very grateful of the support of the center for us to provide the classes. It's just not about the kids having a place where they can do activities. We read, we have a story time, we have learning together. That's what the group is called, Aprendiendo Juntos, learning together. And we focus in family engagement. And through the pandemic, we developed different strategies about creating direct services for the families and providing resources within the community and teaching them how to become self-sufficient and finding resources for them through the pandemic. And also the families were able to gather materials from the house to practice art, and we did reading and different things like flashcards. We created different things and ways to be entertained and learned at the same time. And I just want to say thank you, everyone. We are so grateful that we have this group and the support from all the community, because community partners are so important, and then that way they can see how the families interact with us, and they're always asking like, when are we going back? And I said, very soon. we're going to be there very soon. And Steve is the person that's always supporting us every time we have the classes. They can see the smile on the face. And so I think I just want to say thank you again for that.
Thank you. Do
Thank
any
you.
of the committee members have any questions? Louise.
So, if I may reiterate, Cecilia, you're asking for a full fee waiver for Wednesday and Thursday rentals, correct?
Yes.
And on Fridays, you will pay the full price?
I believe so. That's what the director loved.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So it's kind of a hybrid.
Right. And that has been the process for the last several years.
Yeah. Okay. And Cecilia, your income comes from where, may I ask?
It's a nonprofit organization. It's from grants and donations from community partners. Yes.
Okay. Is Marin Community Foundation one of them?
I believe so.
Yeah, they're great.
Yes, they're supporting every program that we have.
Wonderful.
And I just want to mention, I'm sorry, before we go, that we have a donation for books. So the goal is to get 150 books for these, I would say for this month. So we have a list from Amazon, and it's from books from 0 to 5 years. So before we start the season again, we would like to have new books and excitement for the kids to come back. And then, I just want to mention to you guys, thank you.
Any other questions?
Cecilia, I was wondering, I noticed that you spoke in the application about some of the ways that your group shifted to support families in the last year and the changes for COVID. I was wondering if any of those are things you anticipate being able to continue or continuing to be needed as you move into this year, or whether you'll revert to the program as it was when it was in person.
Well, a lot of the things that we implemented through the pandemic, they're going to continue because we noticed that the need for a case manager was needed. There's a lot of needs for the families, and then one question turns into more than 45 minutes on the phone and finding and providing resources. So there's something that there's a need, and we're going to continue to provide a. I guess they're going to look into hire more people, more staff to be able to support the needs of the families, because so far we have 65, we have like 72 families enrolled. So it means like over 150 people in total or more, because some of them, they have 3 or 4 children. And so the need is very big, and we try all the time to get resources, books, clothing, rental assistance, different resources, our programs. And then every time when I heard Tracy about the programs, like, yes, I'm going to be able to email her and ask more information about it. This is the first time, so I'm excited for that, that they have programs like this, and always connecting with community partners, because it does the communication, does they be able to, promote and continue helping other families as we go.
We would be delighted to collaborate with you.
Thank you.
Louise, you're still muted.
Cecilia, have you all ever contacted the Lions Club and Rotary Clubs for donations?
I'm not sure about that myself. I contacted different community partners for other resources, but not the one that you mentioned. Probably the director has, contact. I'm not sure completely about it.
Yeah, so they're kind of these back groups that you don't often hear about, but they do all kinds of great community service. So it's a great resource.
Thank you for saying.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, can we open it up to public comment or questions? Becky?
Thank you, Steve. Again, if you're watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participants button and select raise hand if you wish to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to speak, please press star at this time. And when it is your turn, you will be notified by the host inviting you to participate. I don't see any, Steve, so I believe you can close that now.
Close public comment, and now I open it back up to the committee for a motion.
I move that we grant a full fee waiver to the Parent Support Project for the Wednesday and Thursday use of the Borough Community Center.
Thank you, Kate. Do you have a second?
I'll second the full waiver for the parent services program.
Janet, and then Becky?
All right, Nancy Palacios,
Yes.
Kate Sprague,
Yes.
Janet Tanchez,
Yes.
Rosa Vasquez,
Yes.
and Luis Youst. All right, Luis, I just unmuted you. How your vote for that? Thank you. All right, motion passed.
Thank you, Becky. Great, Cecilia, thank you for coming today and presenting and for offering such a great program to the community.
Thank you, everyone.
And now we'll go to our next application, which is the Scouts Bsa Troop 2000. A little background, Troop 2000 is proudly called the Aberjeboro Community Center and Pickleweed Park home since forming in the year 2000. The city, through the Pickleweed Advisory Committee, has been fully co-sponsoring the rental of the room for the program since their formation. The activity fits into the center's schedule, and the Scouts are always agreeable to change rooms or move outside if there's a pressing need to use the multipurpose room for a special meeting or event. Troop 2000 regularly gives back to the center and the Canal community by volunteering and performing special projects in support of an individual member's Eagle Scout project. In past years, the Scouts have repaired the center's back deck, made improvement and repairs to Pickleweed Playground, repaired park signboards, performed projects with the Canal Community Garden. We also call on Troop 2000 to support us with community events, and for several years they have assisted with their Dia de los Muertos event in keeping the procession participants safely in their lane of traffic. The term of the proposed Scout program co-sponsorship is from September 13th, 2021 through August 29th, 2022. The applicant is requesting a full fee waiver valued at $4,140 for use of the multipurpose room on Mondays from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. excluding holidays. And in attendance, we've got William, who's the Scoutmaster, to give us a little more background on Troop 2000. Willie?
Good evening. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes.
Hello, Steve. Hello, Luis. That's the only two people I recognize at the time. Thank you for the time. Yes, with the pandemic and all that happening, as we all experience, we've been shifted into Zoom meetings and into meeting in the deck when it was possible. Right now, it's okay. With the weather change, it becomes a little bit an issue. So the parent committee was asking about it, and I did mention that perhaps we need to try to get inside. And I think the time has come to apply for that. And right now, we are getting ready to go to summer camp and continue our plans for the year coming up. We continue doing scouting. We go camping, teach the boys all the skills they need to do, and work with the community if it presents the situation. And we're recruiting as well. We're looking for young men from the age 11 to 18. And what else I can tell you? It's a parent meeting going on right now, in fact, in preparation for summer camp, which I mentioned to them I'm not going to be able to be there, but they're discussing things in transportation and preparations for the summer camp that we go in a couple of weeks. The Pickleweed has been home for us. We've been there for many years, and it is a great spot that we have there because it's at the center of the canal area. We serve just the canal. So I'm hoping that we can stay there and continue to be part of the community. This is our 21 year. I've been there for 21 years. And we're becoming an adult now. You know, families come and go, older people come and go, and young men come and go. I got quite a few guys in college, quite a few graduated. They graduated from the Scouts, and the program works. So we're excited to start our new year, which will become started in August. Well, when the Scout year starts. So I'm hoping for the best.
I'm going to ask a question first before the committee. Willie, in the past, last time you presented to the board, the Scouts were integrating girls and women and young women into the Scouts. Can you give us an update on how that's going? I believe you touched it briefly in your application, but I think some
yes,
committee members might be interested.
Yes, the Boy Scouts, Scouts in general, all over the world are males and females. But in the United States, it happened that the Girl Scouts for the program and the Boy Scouts had their own program. A year ago, national office decided that we're going to open the doors to the young ladies. We welcome, Marine Council welcomed that. It was a great idea. Why not? We're here to serve the youth. And we do have 3 troops in Marin County. One is in Mill Valley, one is in San Rafael or San Anselmo, and the other one is in Novato. So we serve in the center, south, and the north of Marin County. We just had about 2 weeks ago the first 4 Eagle Scouts, females from Marin County. So that is just history that these young ladies made. It was a beautiful ceremony. They're being recognized in all kind of different media. It's a big deal. For us, it's a big deal. It's also a great example for younger girls that want to be part of it, this adventure, this fun sort of experience. Now, when you have a troop of girls, it have to be all girls. If you have a troop of boys like I have, it's just boys. We're not allowed to mix them. We can work, the committee can work. We can run a program with a troop for girls. It could be Troop 2000 if they want to. The committee could be the same, but they have their own leadership, their own groups, their own leaders, girls, and all of that. It'd be nice to create one in the canal. I think there is a lot of young ladies that will benefit from the program. We do have camps, and I mean, this program has been going on for over 100 years, over 110 years. So it's not like we discovering the wheel. This thing is happening, and we have prepperies, we have jamborees, we have national events, training, all kinds of things in place. It will be nice to see something. I've been talking to a few people, ladies, that if they be interested, I'd be more than happy to help create something like that. But it does take a group of parents that want to be part of a committee, and they take some recruiting, lots of training. Nowadays, you have to train for all those things, working with the youth. So that's what's happening right now in Marine. It is growing. The Cub Scouts have a lot of young ladies, and it's getting bigger. I think we go in our 2nd or 3rd year, and the numbers look like they're very good.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the committee? Louise.
So Willie, 4 new girl Eagle Scouts is thrilling.
It is amazing. It's really cool.
So
they were the first 4, but I just find out that in Mill Valley they just got 2 more.
Oh wow!
But these 4 that came up first, they were the first. It was a class in 2021, and it was 2020, and they were the first girls from Marine Council, along with other girls from the United States. But from Marine Council, there were 4. Now, by this year, we have another 2 or 3 more that become Eagles, but those 4 girls that become, and they're going to college. All of them are on their way to UC Berkeley. Some of them are Southern California.
Great.
And I was very lucky to be part of the committee when they did that Eagle Board review. I was invited as a to be seated on that board, and it was amazing how much they have accomplished. So smart, and oh my God, the world is just amazing. And it's a bad time that the young ladies get to be part of the program. Believe me, that's how I feel.
Love it.
Yes.
Traditionally, Girl Scouts had their own kind of award called God and Country Award.
Right.
I got that as a Girl Scout.
Yes, you know how it is. Yes, yes.
So it sounds like the Girl Scouts are not doing God and Country anymore, correct?
No. The Girl Scouts are continuing with their program. They keep doing what they were always doing, and they still sell them the cookies. So they're going on with the program. But the Boy Scouts, what they done is they opened the door to girls. So anybody can be part. In fact, there is a lot of Girl Scouts that are being part of the Boy Scouts as well.
Okay. So does that mean the girls can choose to do either the God and Country or the Eagles Award?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. They can do whatever they want. And the other thing is that I think it's a good thing, even though the Girl Scouts are a little bit upset because we opened the doors to the girls. We did change the name. It's not called the Boy Scouts of America anymore. It's called Scouts Bsa. Just to make sure that we have everybody involved on that.
Oh, okay.
So, but you know, people still call it Boy Scouts of America. But I think eventually the name will get a little bit changed. It takes a little bit of a while.
But just to clarify for Louise, the Girl Scouts and the BSA, they're 2 separate organizations.
Right.
So
Yeah.
young women have the choice of going to either one they want to, but they are
correct.
separate.
Okay, so if a girl joins BSA, then you're doing the merit badges that the boys have done for years.
Yes, yes.
Okay, but if a girl joins Girl Scouts, you're doing the Girl Scout merit badges.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But you can be a member of both of the organizations if you want to.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, why not? I mean, nobody's going to tell you no. You can be a member of one organization and member of the other organization and have fun.
That's called super achiever.
Yes, absolutely.
I do want to note too that one of the 4 female Eagle Scouts did their final project at the Canal Community Garden.
Yes,
So we
she
benefit
did.
from that.
Absolutely. Yes, she did. And thank you to you, Steve, because she called me and she was looking for ideas, and her idea was to serve the Latin community. She doesn't live in the canal. She lives in, I believe, in San Anselmo or Ross, but she wanted to serve this part of the community. It was very important to her to give back, and she figured she can do it there. Not only that, she wanted to invite all the girls in the canal to come over and be part of it and help so they understand what the program is all about it. But because of COVID, it was not possible to do that. So she went and you connected with a garden where she went and did a service project there.
Are there any more questions for Willie from the committee? Yes, Kate.
I noticed in your description that you primarily serve students whose first language is not English. Can students whose first language is English also participate in your troop?
Yeah, no, the doors are open to everyone. I have boys that never speak a word of English, and I got people that speak just English. I have Vietnamese. I had South Americans, Caribbeans. I had a whole variety. The doors are open to every single boy that is 11 years old. Even if you don't have the money, the uniform, we always find a way. We live in the richest part of the world. We can always find something, and we have an incredible amount of resources in California and Marin County. So I always keep the doors open to any boy that want to be part of it. Language doesn't have a barrier.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lily, I do have a question.
Sure.
So you said, so Troop 2000 is in San Rafael, and then there's a couple other troops in Marin County?
Yes, there is quite a few troops in Marin County. Mill Valley is Troop 1, Tiburon Troop 48, Corte Madera has 24, and so on and so on. Troop 2000 was formed in the canal in San Rafael in the year 2000, and I was part of that with the Mayor Aberjeboro and the Chief of Police at the time, because it was needed. It was gangs, and it was getting a bad reputation, so they wanted to get something going, and so I got experience in that. I got involved, and it's been 21 years, and it's been great. It's been really great.
No, that's fantastic. And I was wondering, since there's these other troops in Marin County, have there been opportunities for these troops to gather at the center? Just like the Eagle Scout who did her project at the canal. And for her, she lives in San Anselmo, and for her going to the canal must have been fantastic and just gave her all these fantastic ideas. So I'm just wondering if there's been some type of activities for all the troops to possibly gather at the center and learn more about the canal neighborhood.
That is a very good thought of you. It's been few occasions in the 21 years where other members and other troops have come over to the canal to do service. We done it in the past where we did a big cleanup, and we invite quite a few of them, and they came over. Usually all these troops got their own places of gathering, like churches or community centers in their towns, and they have their own programs like we have. We do have a Camp Camarancho in Fairfax, where we gather there, and we have weekends, and we have competitions, and we do all the stuff the Scouts do. But in fact, Steve had a great idea a couple years ago. He wanted to do something in the summertime, and we were talking about it, that perhaps I could invite other troops to come over and be part of a support for the idea that Steve had. And I hope that could happen in the future. But yes, I can always invite the Scouts. I'm very involved in the program for about 35 years in Marin County. And, you know, I always keep the door open if they want to do service and so on. But no, we haven't invited them for something to do. We haven't invited for events like graduations and stuff like that.
Thank you. No, and I think, like you said, it's something that should be considered in the future. It's just so important. Marin, you have all these amazing pockets, and for just the kids to get together and understand each other and where they come from, I think it's fantastic. Thank you, Willie.
Thank you. I like your way of thinking, and yes, I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee?
Lily, I know there's an art badge. If any of your kids want to participate with drawbridge programs, we would love to help them get their badges in that.
Thank you very much. Yes, there is an art badge, Mary badge, and usually boys like to take that because they take into the art and they discover something and they do it and they earn. So they have an understanding. But thank you for mentioning it. I will pass it on. Definitely, yes.
Louise, I believe you raised your hand.
So, who's the director now? Are you still the director? The leader?
I am the Scoutmaster and
Still.
also the founder.
Yeah.
And yes, I still be the guy. I don't know how many more years I'm going to do it. I've been doing it for 21 years. I do have a scoutmaster very involved right now. He's young and he's planning to perhaps have a family. He grew up in the canal. He went to San Rafael High. He's an Eagle Scout and he's been with me for about a year. And I see maybe he could be the one. So I keeping my fingers crossed because I'm afraid if I step out, and it's been hard to find somebody to stay and continue this on.
Yes.
You know, and I hate to walk away, but eventually that will happen because age is something that we cannot get away from it in life. But I still feel very strong. I feel like I still got years to go. So I'm staying very positive.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee? Okay, we can open it up to public questions or comment. Becky?
All right, if you're watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participants button and select raise hand if you wish to speak. If you are participating by telephone and wish to speak, please press *9. When it is your turn to speak, you will be notified by the host inviting you to participate. Okay, Steve, I don't see any hands up here.
Okay, we'll close the public comment. I'd just like to remind everybody that the value of a full sponsorship is $4,140, and the Pickleweed Advisory Committee has the authority to grant a full, partial, or not grant if they don't want to. So I open it up for a motion.
I motion to fully waive the fee for the Scouts program.
You.
Thank you, Janet. Do we have a second?
I second the motion.
Okay, Nancy?
Thank you.
Becky? Oh, you're on mute, Becky.
All right, sorry about that, everyone. Okay, Nancy Palacios.
Yes.
Kate Sprague,
Yes.
Janet Tanchez,
Yes.
Rosa Vasquez,
Rosa, I think you're muted.
Yep.
Yes, sorry.
Thank you. And Luis Yaus.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion passed.
Great. Thank you, Willie. It's good seeing you.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time, and we'll be around. Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move on to item number 5, and that's a review proposed revisions to the Aberjeboro Community Center and Community Use Policy. Catherine Cufo, our Assistant Director, was kind enough to put together a PowerPoint for us. I was going to say staff is asking the Pickleweed Advisory Committee review proposed updates to the Aberjeboro Community Center use policy and provide feedback. Catherine, are you ready with the...
I am. So I'll share my screen and you're going to kick us off, Steve, right?
I will kick off, yes. Okay, so there we go. Some background. In 1997, go to slide 2, yeah, thank you. In 1997, the City Council first approved policy changes that allowed for increased community use of the then Pickleweed Community Center for little or no charge. In 2006, to coincide with the opening of the newly renovated community center, the community use policy was updated to allow for a balanced and equitable provision of space. Our rental rates were also set at half the rate of other community centers so that local residents and program providers could afford to use the center. Slide 3. The goal of the policy: to create a more vital and inclusive community center by allowing valuable programs and services for the canal neighborhood. Work with the community to create a web supporting programs that changes to meet current needs and enrich canal residents, and to increase our ability to accomplish these goals by co-sponsoring programs. Co-sponsorship program overview. Nonprofit organizations, as we just saw, can apply to the city and Pickleweed Advisory Committee for a reduction in full fee waiver in rental fees in the community center and park. Program supports organizations in providing timely programs for canal residents while also saving the city cost of providing similar programs in-house. Many of these programs, if we had hired the staff and administration to run it, it might not be as cost effective. On average, the co-sponsorship program supports 10 to 15 organizations annually. In addition to the co-sponsorship guidelines application process, the 2006 community use policy also contained information on general facility rental policies, fees, and processes. Now, Assistant Library and Recreation Director Catherine Cufo will present the proposed changes to the community use policy.
All right, thanks so much, Steve. So as Steve just mentioned, the community use policy includes a lot of different things. It talks about the co-sponsorship process, but it also has content related to just general rentals of the facility. It has the application is kind of in there. And what we really want to do is we really want to focus this policy on the co-sponsorship program. The city has a number of other facility rental policies and documents that are kind of contained elsewhere for our other community centers. So we would like to pull that piece out of the community use policy. The rental policies aren't we're not getting rid of them. We're just moving them into the policy that overarches all of our community centers, and to really focus this community use policy on this co-sponsorship and fee waiver program. So that's kind of the first big changes, is just kind of removing a lot of that extra content that is found elsewhere, and that could just kind of create a lot of issues with version control. And if we change it in one, we've got to change it in the other. So really just kind of streamlining that process, that content from an administrative perspective. The same thing with removing the applications. Year on year, we find there might be some changes we want to make, and it's nice to not have to kind of formally have that adopted each time this co-sponsorship or this community use policy does have to go through the Pickleweed Advisory Committee, Park and Rec Commission, and the City Council to be changed. So if we just wanted to, add a section to the application, for example, it'd be nice to be able to do that without having to go through this long process. And it's something we find that generally the committee likes to do on a somewhat regular basis, is to add or change what they're looking for in the applications themselves. So it's really about focusing this specific policy on that co-sponsorship process. In looking at how we prioritize usage at the center, we want to add regional and local emergency use as the top usage priority. I think the past 2 years have shown us how important the Borough Community Center is as a resource for the community during local and regional emergencies such as COVID, PSPS, heat waves, things like that. So really, being able to prioritize that for use at the center and include that in the policy. You kind of heard a little bit about it today when we were talking about the Parent Services Project, but historically, the Pickleweed Advisory Committee has not waived fees for the multi-purpose room on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Those are really important days for the city to generate revenue to help kind of offset some of these fee waivers. And the multi-purpose room is where we see a lot of our big weddings and quinceañeras and kind of big kind of family event rentals. And so what we would like to do is kind of formalize that within the policy. So it's been kind of the practice of the committee not to waive the multi-purpose room fees on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we just want to have that formally included within the policy. And then the last thing on this slide is that the city is recommending that we establish a fee waiver an annual fee waiver maximum of $140,000. This is to kind of, create some sort of financial accountability for this program. At the moment, you know, it feels like the number of programs that we waive fees for is appropriate, but you know, we could envision a future where we were getting significantly more applications, and could really impact the city's ability to cover any of our costs. So we didn't look at 2020 because that was obviously different. But looking at 2017 and 2018 and into 2019, we saw that on average, the Pickleweed Advisory Committee waived between $120,000 and $130,000 worth of fees. And so we felt that establishing the $140,000 maximum would allow us to continue at a similar level as we currently have, with even adding in a few more programs if we were to have more develop. And then this waiver amount would increase as proportionally to any fee increases that we had for the room rental rates. So it really would kind of establish the current rate of fee waivers with a little bit of wiggle room in there as well. So then the last change that staff are recommending is to establish kind of a more formal cyclical process for issuing fee waivers. So currently, as we saw today, applications are accepted on a rolling basis. And what staff is recommending is that we either move to an annual or a semi-annual grant cycle. So staff's recommendation is the semi-annual grant cycle, establishing one for kind of the school year and one cycle for the summer. And the benefit of this that staff sees is that it would really allow the Pickleweed Advisory Committee to evaluate the applications as a whole, to identify potential gaps, to see where we might have duplications, and to really understand kind of the full suite of programs that are being offered through this co-sponsorship process, and to really evaluate that, and to potentially look and say, hey, you know, we've got a lot of youth programs, but we really are kind of lacking in older adult programs. Maybe we should do some outreach, or we should do something to encourage those, you know, those programs that are missing from kind of from the portfolio, as it were. And it would also kind of create more of like, it would be more of a grant, a kind of formal grant process for the applicants themselves. So those are kind of the primary changes that the city is proposing. And we would love to get feedback from the committee on these changes. I think in particular, we'd be interested to hear your thoughts on an annual versus a semi-annual application process, with kind of the annual process being once for the full year and the semi-annual process being twice, once for the school year and once for the summer. And then again, and we'd also have feedback on any of the other proposed changes that we've brought through the staff report and this presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to the committee members for your questions and thoughts on this proposal.
Anybody have any questions for Catherine, Susan, or I? Comments? Louise?
So if we approve the staff's recommendation and have 2 times per year that groups can apply for fee waivers, does that mean the Pickleweed Advisory Committee would only meet 2 times a year?
So sorry, I actually realized I forgot to clarify something in there also. We would establish those 2 primary times, but if someone were to come with a really urgent or time-sensitive program, we would allow them to apply at other points, at other meetings. But those would be kind of the main ones where the Pickleweed Advisory Committee could really kind of sift through the full portfolio, really evaluate where the fee waivers are going kind of as a whole. But folks would be able to apply at other times as well. And it kind of is it's a 2-step process. So it would be, there'd be the one meeting where the applications would kind of be received. And we'd need to work through this process a little bit, probably with the committee. Where they'd be received, we'd probably have the presentations. And then there would be a second one where the committee would kind of announce the waivers, so there would still be, in the semi-annual process, there would be 4 meetings that would be taken up by that process. And then there'd be 2, I think that the committee has 6 meetings a year. Is that 5?
5.
5?
Oh, 5. Okay.
So then there would really only be one additional meeting.
So, and there'll be community issues and things that we discuss on all 5 of the meetings, and then just exactly what Susan or what Catherine just said. Let's say tentatively we're proposing for summer programs that run from June to August. The applications would come in, and the Pickleweed Advisory Committee would see them in their January meeting, decide, and then on March meeting they would announce it. And then for the school year programs, it would be May that we would receive the applications, or you would receive the applications, and then July when we announce it. So there's those 4 meetings that would be pretty meaty, and we can always call special meetings too as needed. So we might have even more than 5, but we have a minimum of 5 every year.
Okay, thank you.
I actually think it's a pretty good idea to do that, to streamline this, to do it on a biannual basis, receiving these grantee proposals, especially if we're trying to reach or trying to be below that $140,000 maximum. Because say we get a whole bunch in the fall and then we already reached that maximum, and then it's like, oh, where do we go from here? So I support that aspect. Also, another thing I think it would be interesting to know is looking in prior years, like maybe 2018 and 2019, maybe categorizing where these programs fall into place. Like, are most of these programs outreach programs, or most of these programs geared, et cetera, arts? Because you had mentioned that sometimes the allocation, we've noticed that the allocation may be too heavy on one side, and we want to support a little more on another type of program or outreach. So yeah, I think those are my comments.
Right. And I think, we can definitely look back historically. And I think what the proposed process will help us kind of keep on top of that as well moving forward. So instead of looking retrospectively on what was done, we can look kind of forward and say, oh, hey, look in this applicant pool, we notice we have a lot of this and maybe not a lot of that. So I think Nancy, that's great that we can look historically as well for that information.
Right.
Yeah.
And then,
go ahead.
Oh no, and maybe you should go ahead because this is a little different topic. Yeah.
The only thing I was going to add on that, I think it is a great idea to look retrospectively to see, where the tendency was to, waive fees. Was it mainly youth? But as you go forward, being able to do this twice a year, you will really be able to start identifying gaps. Right. And maybe you take that 5th meeting every year and you guys create a short-term and long-term goals for the Pickleweed Advisory Committee of, hey, in the next round, we are going to even prioritize those social services for adults, or language barriers, or, literacy, whatever it is. And that when you push this out to accept the applications, you might say the Pickleweed Advisory Committee has adopted these goals for the next 5 years, and we're really going after literacy projects or art projects or wherever they are. And you can help to prioritize the applications as far as where the grants and the gaps are, right? So, it's the first step, but as you guys go forward, you'll be able to really develop some strategies to make sure you hit a wide range of need.
Right. And and just remembering what the Mayor Kate had said was reimagining San Rafael and how we want it to look like going forward. I think this is such a great opportunity to analyze what we've done in the past and how we want to maybe continue with what we've done, but to expand. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
I was wondering whether December is a reasonable time for nonprofits and things to know well enough what they're planning to do for the summer. That I was just thinking about, working in education, we don't get info. I'm sure people are deciding things by then, but as a parent too, we're not hearing about things until much later. So I just was wondering about that timeline for summer programs.
I
And
think
maybe this kind of thing needs to happen in December so that then the group can go out to get participants later in the spring.
Right, that's something we had talked about, and there's definitely some flexibility on that. I too was worried about that because some things seem to be a little more spontaneous. But if we do it too close, then in order to get all their supply, to know that they're approved and able to implement the program, they need some lead time too. So it is a concern of ours, and maybe we could adjust it a little bit. But when we're preparing this report, that sounded to be reasonable to us. But we're definitely
okay. Thank you.
I think it's also important to note that when we were coming up with these concepts for your consideration, we understand that this might not be one and done, that they might need to be tweaked. So if you're leaning towards 2 review periods a year or a single period a year, when that occurs, once you've gone through this process with your best intentions, you might realize, we might need to adjust a little, and that's going to be okay.
And we did add, as Catherine said, some flexibility. So I think a lot of our more ongoing programs, like we saw tonight, and some other ones, can easily fall into this routine. And maybe for especially the first few years, we might have some individuals that come in on the off meetings and ask for special circumstances to be reviewed. And that's why that kind of extra clause was put in there.
I guess I would just say, if it's possible for us to get some information on what has been approved, since we've only seen 3 tonight, and that gives us a sense of, I don't know, $16,000 or so, I can't even remember now, more than that. But it would be helpful to know how that 140,000 has been reached in the past, especially if we move to 2, which I would be in favor of moving to 2 as well. Just to know kind of how we can track that money a little bit. And maybe we can also consider 75% fee reductions as well to keep within that and ask organizations to shoulder some of that as well.
Yep, exactly.
I have one more question or comment around formalizing the restrictions. No, sorry, the regional and local emergency use as the top usage priority. And I read the language in the change about the goal being not to bump things except in extreme circumstances. I was just wondering whether there's any way to be a little more specific. For example, a PSPS, is that something that a quinceañera or something would be bumped for or not? Or a vaccine clinic? Or, I just wondered if there was any way to be specific so that people who are signing agreements have a little bit more information and they can say, man, that first week in October, we might be looking at, just as we move into some new different challenges around PSPSs and otherwise. Maybe it's not a good idea to put that, but I just wonder. Yeah.
Well, that's a good point. We had kind of, when we were putting this together, and we've been working on this for over a year now, but we had no thought that a pandemic could even stop anything. I mean, and so we don't want to have people count on this list, and then something like COVID or something we haven't even thought of yet happens. And
right.
So maybe we could tighten it up a bit, but we will also want to leave it open enough to.
Sure.
Yeah, I think if it's go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I will say what the city has tried to do in the past couple of years when this has become more of an issue is life events like weddings and quinceañeras and celebration of life ceremonies. Those are things that we really try and prioritize. Even if there is a PSPS, if we can get a generator to that facility, we will try and do that. I think Boro is a little bit different because we are partnering with PG&E to be a regional center. So Steve might be able to speak a little bit more to what parts of the, I think we would try our best to accommodate those big life events. Ongoing programs such as we get through the co-sponsorship, those would probably be ones where we bump them a day. It's not as, it's not as catastrophic for somebody's major life event, but yeah, so
And we also have the ability, we've got several community centers. So, because we have an agreement with PG&E and we're supporting the canal community with a power station during a PSPS, we could maybe bump somebody to Falkirk or San Rafael Community Center, or, maybe not an ideal alternative, but definitely an alternative. But our priority for that would try to be keep these life events going. Any other questions? Nancy?
Yes. It has to do with the application process. Do we have a copy of how the application process looks like in the minutes, in the agenda?
Attachment 3 kind of overviews the 3 different options.
What page is that on?
I think it's the last page.
Yeah, the last page. Okay. I swear I did look at this.
We believe you.
It doesn't go into
Okay.
a ton of detail.
Okay. Okay.
But
No,
we were
yeah.
kind of trying to balance providing too much detail where we'd have to go and change it,
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So depending on the direction that you provide tonight, if you're leaning towards 2 or 1, and all the rest of the details are okay, then what staff will do is they'll go and revise, update the application to make sure it asks for all the information that we're looking for, and that will come up with the guidelines, kind of outward guidelines. So when an applicant applies, they understand you apply this date, this is when the review is, this is the information that is needed. When you go to present, you'll have 5 minutes, to present and answer questions. Because as you can imagine tonight, you just reviewed 3 groups and look at the amount of time it took. So if you do this twice a year, you could be really looking at substantial amount of applications, and we prefer you not go to, finish the meeting when you're going to bed at midnight. So we will come up with something that is efficient, yet make sure that all the information that you need to make a really good decision is available to you.
Okay.
But that is the next step.
Great. Yeah. It looks good. I think is one of the points in the application to look at the organization's financial statement position. Is that one of the criterias?
It definitely will be.
Yeah.
It will be. Okay. So if we move forward with the December with, what is it? If the first round of applications intended but not limited for summer programs would be due December 1st, then what kind of financial information would you want by then? I mean, do you want a fiscal year? Because it wouldn't be ready by December 1st.
So normally in applications for grant cycles, there's 2 things that you normally ask for, and it'll be up to Steve to provide information as to what he's done in the past. But it is typical for a group to show their annual budget, right? Just without the program, and then to show the program budget and their sources of revenue for that program and their sources of expense and their expenses related to that specific program. Based on the questions you asked tonight, you were asking questions like who do you receive funding from, right? So often these groups will provide, this is our annual budget, right? But what's the most important part is the program related expenses and the program related revenue. Do they have sources of revenue coming in? So you really get a good picture of, boy, they really need 100% fee waiver here for this facility because they're really not getting much funding for anything else, or they've got everything covered and we don't, we feel kind of comfortable maybe just waiving 25% or whatever. Okay. So it will help to give you a better picture.
And I believe we do have another meeting. Is the next meeting of the Pickleweed Advisory Committee would be in September?
October, the first Wednesday in October.
In October. So that, I mean, we could, that's a time where we could really look at the application form. We, you know, staff could come back with kind of an updated form that captures some of this information, or, you know, I know that it looks like most of the applicants did already provide a program budget. So, you know, we could bring that back and just see if there's any additional feedback or changes the committee would like to see before we go for the December. I think that would give us enough time to launch it for folks for the December applications.
That's good.
Any other questions? Hearing none. Becky, I know we have a couple members of the public still there. Perhaps they might want to comment.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. So if you're watching this meeting through Zoom, please select the participants button and select raise hand if you wish to speak. If you're participating by telephone and wish to speak, please press *9. When it's your turn to speak, you will be notified by the host inviting you to participate. Okay, I don't see any hands raised, Steve.
So it sounded like from our conversation that the group, or at least two of you, are leaning toward option B. Is that correct? Yes?
Yes.
I am leaning towards option B.
Well, then can we have a motion to accept the Aberjeboro Community Center use policy as proposed, recommending option B of the co-sponsorship application process?
I
move. Oh, go ahead, Nancy.
I move forward with a motion to go forward with option B.
And to accept the full community use policy as proposed?
As well. Yes.
That is a
A
motion.
second.
8 seconds. Becky?
That darn mute button. All right. All right. For roll call, Nancy Palacios.
Yes.
Kate Sprague.
Yes.
Janet Sanchez.
Yes.
Rosa Vasquez.
Yes.
You and Luis Youst.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Motion passed.
Great. Thank you very much. Now on to item 6, committee reports and comments. Are there any brief reports or on any meetings or community events that any members of this committee have attended? No? Okay, now we're getting late. Okay.
Really quickly, I'll
Yep.
just say we were able to go into the library for the first time in months, and our 3-year-old, I don't think he remembers going in there, and he was just amazed that there were so many books. So we're very excited to be back in person at the library.
Wonderful. Oh,
Yes, Louise.
I'm also very excited to go down to 4th Street on Thursday or Friday nights, and it is a party. You gotta come down there, have dinner on the street, lots of restaurants to choose from. Farmers Market Thursday night, and they do a beautiful job of Farmers Market this year. It was taken over by another company, AIM, Agricultural Institute of Marin, and they do a great job. And there's live bands dancing in the street. Come on down.
Okay, if no other comments, we'll go to item number 7 under staff comments. I just want to provide you with a kind of brief update since my last email update to everybody. Things are really starting to pick up at all of our centers, and especially here. Some of you might have known Perla, who was our afternoon front desk staff member. And she's unfortunately left us for a benefit position with more hours at the library, but she's still within our department, which is nice. And we've hired a new part-time staff member, Jennifer, to take her place, and Jennifer's fitting in very well, learning the ropes. We have our first big post-COVID rental this Saturday. We decided once we heard things were opening up June 15th that we would give it until July, give 2 weeks to kind of shake everything out, but we started taking reservations. So we've got a big first birthday party, and then in 2 weeks a quinceanera, and then every weekend, every Saturday in August is booked with events. So we're scrambling, trying to get some facility attendants hired and be able to accommodate these programs. But it's nice to see. It's nice but crazy. But we like the sound of kids and everything that's happening here. Similar to what Catherine was saying earlier, we have been working on a PSPS generator connection. This Friday, our center, they'll be turning off the power here from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. to do the final connection for the generator. Last year, we entered a contract with PG&E, the city did, to make this center a designated power safety, public safety power shutoff event. And PG&E would be able to use their generators to power our whole center. And we've got an agreement with them to be able to use the multi-purpose room. Some of you might remember that back in 2019, PG&E erected tents in our parking lot and served as a power charging station for customers. So this gives them the ability to use the indoors, but also if we have other programs that are going on in some of the other adjacent rooms, we can still have power, which would be nice. We're also working on another contract with them where if the city deemed a emergency or important use and need for the generator, they would support us on that, but we're still working out the details for that. Our Pickleweed soccer fields opened on Saturday, June 12th, after being closed for approximately 18 months. That's to the joy of the community. They were closed for maintenance. They're typically closed for 6 months every year because they're so heavily used by soccer and then COVID restrictions. So it's really nice to see people playing and having fun out there on the grass. Our Summer Junior Giants program and the Canal Mini Soccer League both kicked off their seasons on Pickleweed Fields on Saturday, June 19th. The center has also been hosting summer volleyball camps since June 21st. And in addition to these programs that are being offered through the Recreation Division, athletic rentals such as Adult Bay Area Disc Association, team soccer training have also began that week in June. And now we've got our 2 adult soccer leagues that are going to be returning this Sunday. So field use is really picking up. This summer for camps, the Aberjeboro Community Center is supporting a free 6-week summer camp for up to 100 children conducted by the YMCA and funded by the San Francisco City School District, San Rafael, City School District. The camp has an emphasis on recreation. It's intended to bring children together after a challenging school year of virtual learning and social distancing. The camp runs Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Last Thursday, in front of proud parents and family members, 32 of the city's Canal karate students advanced in ranking from the karate belt ceremony here at the center. Vice Mayor Mary Beth Bushy and I assisted in handing out certificates and the belts following a demonstration conducted by the participants and Sensei Ugo Q. The program's began in the old community center back in 2000 with a mission to teach good health, sports habits, respect, and discipline. And then last night, the City Council approved the department's fee policy, which this committee reviewed at your special meeting on June 22nd. So part of the fees that were eligible were implemented today, and then fields and the community garden fees will be implemented next year. And that's a brief overview. And Susan, do you have updates?
I have one thing. You covered so much stuff, so I was just really excited about that. So thank you. What I also wanted to tell the group was last night, the City Council took action to approve the formation of the long title, the Park and Recreation Master Plan Steering Committee. It is going to be a citywide comprehensive Park and Recreation master planning process, which evaluates the city's facilities and programs and makes recommendations for improvements. So it is a big deal. And part of the formation of that steering committee will be that we will be asking the Pickleweed Advisory Committee to provide us with a member to represent the Pickleweed Advisory Committee on that steering committee. So I'm very excited about that. So we'll be coming back to you shortly. I guess your next meeting is in October. So I'm hoping we can wait till then. We might have to do something special before then, but what we'll be looking for is for one member and an alternate in case that member can't make it. And again, you know, we'll give you more information, but the hope is that both attend those meetings in case somebody steps out, that person doesn't have to take a lot of time to be briefed in order to participate. But I'm excited. So you're going to have a seat at the big table. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, Susan. That's great news. Catherine, do you have any updates?
I think you guys covered it all.
Okay. Okay, so our next regular meeting will be October 6th, 2021. And nobody has anything else. I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 8:48 p.m. And I really appreciate everybody being here. And thank you for being on the committee. Have a
Thank
good night.
you. Good night.
Thank you,
Have a good
Steve.
night.